going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I appreciate you stopping by to show your support, check out my videos. Whatever the reason is that you decided to stop by, maybe you just saw my goofy face on there and you thought, hey, I'm gonna click a button. Anywho's, those of you who have been here before, been following me and watching my videos, I really appreciate your support. It means a lot trying to grow this channel. If you are new and you've never been here before and you just decided to click on it and check what's going on today, my name is Derek and I am the Indie Film Dude. As the title says, we're going to do some lighting breakdowns, but this is part 2 of lighting breakdowns. If you want to see what is now part 1, I will link it up above so you can go check it out. Basically doing lighting breakdowns of several movies that I've worked on either as a DP or a gaffer. I did a whole long breakdown, and so that's kind of why I decided to break it up into 2 parts, because the last one would have been like an hour and a half long, so I decided to, I only did 2 movies, I think just 2 movies in that one, and then I did 2 movies in this one, and maybe I'll do another one in the future. Anyways, I believe the first one was Blind Date, and the second movie was one of the many movies that hopefully will be released this year, Trick or Treat. And these are all short films as of now. I'm working my way up to my first feature, cross for that. Today we're going to look at a couple more breakdowns of some movies, hopefully that will be released this year. Some of these movies I am also doing post work on, whether it's color. There's a couple, actually one most recent one that I did that I helped work on at the very end of 2021 last year is called Unseen Wager, and it's actually basically a remake into a different kind of movie with similar two main characters, but essentially a remake of Blind Date from 2019. That one I'm doing color, all the post-production. I'm not the editor, but I'm doing color and sound for that one, and that hopefully will be released this year also. So got a lot of exciting things going on this year. But jumping back to the breakdowns, so we're going to look at Down the Cubicle, and we're going to look at Gray Infused with Color. Losing my brain. Gray Infused with Color is the second movie we're going to look at. I'm going to jump over there to that video, and then I will then bring you obviously to our shout out at the end. Again, appreciate all your love. Make sure to hammer the like button and subscribe button, and so that way you can keep going with me, and hopefully 2022 is going to hold something amazing for us all. Straight to it! Alright, so we'll move on to Down the Cubicle. It was basically like an Office Space, Alice in Wonderland type of thing. So I'll try to kind of run through these a little bit. So we shot at this place called Medici down in, I'd say kind of like downtown St. Louis, but it's a little out from it. But so Caitlin plays Alice. She also wrote it. We did a couple different variations of this type of shot to where she would get a phone call. She got a phone call from whoever I guess the boss was. So when it happened is I set one of my clamp lights over here and popped blue gel over that. And because blue's supposed to be Alice's color, but also it was also supposed to be her getting a phone call, I believe, as the start to her moving into Wonderland, or under Wonderland, because I think it was either the rabbit or whoever that calls her, as far as the story goes in Alice in Wonderland. We have our other actress. I apologize, I forgot her name. I will put it on the screen. She plays essentially the Office Space version of the Red Queen, is who she was. So all I did was just sit on the side over here with my clamp light, and that one I put a red bulb in, giving, because she comes over with this menacing feel, this whole menacing, trying to be like a giant over Alice, essentially. I'm real terrible at explaining this stuff. Just a side note, red bulbs work better than blue bulbs. Don't know why. I have a blue bulb behind me, and it sucks. So I had to gel. I can't remember if I used a blue bulb, and then I had to gel over the blue bulb to get more blue. So it's like I'm better off using LEDs for blue RGB, RGB for blue than just a blue bulb. I don't know, understand. So anyways, weird rant. Hey, look, we even got the sign of the queen back there. See? It's funny looking at pictures like this because it really makes it look like I was actually doing something. So that's pretty cool. You know, like really focused on, man, what's going on with this shot in the script? And the whole time he's probably looking at me like, you know, when are you gonna do something? We're gonna jump into where she meets Maddie. With her, which was part of the Wonderland setup. And this one is cool because we went with a pretty warm tone. The cabinets and everything were, you know, the brownish, and it had tungsten already going with the globes and the bulbs that were in there. So we really went with, just kept that warm tone that was in there. And again, went with my China ball to accent that and give us a nice, you know, key on the side there. Simple stuff like that, you know, let the environment do what it's gonna do, and then you just add, you know, add to what's already there. So that's basically what we did. And then we have this blanket here. It acted as partly to try to cut off some of the echo for sound, but sometimes depending where you put them, it also helps kind of flag things. So it depends, because there was a room on the other side there. So we'll jump over to basically what was supposed to be the caterpillar. A lot of this prep, not all, but a lot of the prep was done the day before. With this one, we went with kind of like, he wanted a bluish green tone with it, and then there was, you know, a practical in there. So I gelled with my blue gel, I gelled the fluorescent that was above for the whole room to have that kind of blue tone. Look, here's me actually looking like I'm doing something again. Fooled them. So then we go in and add a practical lamp there. I wouldn't say it was acting like a key, but it was kind of like a kicker off. The practical was giving light onto our talent there, Scully, who is playing the caterpillar, the human version of the caterpillar, basically. I think we did soft boxes in the bottom corners there, and we gelled them green, kind of give a, you know, green in the back, and then, you know, the blue at the top, and then we used a smoke machine to create the whole ambience. Plus, it was supposed to add to the idea that, you know, he's always smoking, and I think he was using a vape, which, you know, kind of feeds into the modern time. So it was a mix of, I mean, you had the fantasy element, but it was really grounded in a lot of ways to the whole office space, you know, not so more realism in there, I guess you'd say. We got a nice monitor look there. Those shots are always cool. It was such a confined space. I mean, it was like once we got everything set up, it was like you had the actors, maybe the boom op and the cam op, and that was it. There was no space in this room to do anything once we were actually rolling. It was like everyone had to be outside. So it was that whole space was pretty crazy. This is one of the most important things on a movie set. Food. Eating, stuff your face. Provide the opportunity for people to stuff their face. You got to make sure to do that. I'll tell you what, you know, if you don't feed your people, you're gonna piss all kinds of people off, and they're not gonna want to come back and work with you. You got to at least feed them. You know, if you can't pay them, stuff their face, make sure their stomach is full, and you know, that is honestly, it doesn't sound like that is a good, you know, substitute for food or substitute for money, but it really is, believe me. That shows that you're taking care of your people. So we'll jump to what was supposed to be the Chester the cat, I believe. Bear in mind, we are reshooting this whole sequence here. We're going to reshoot it because some things didn't quite work out for us. But we are going to go, hopefully it'll work out better for us. I'll show you the stuff anyway, just so you can kind of see what was going on. The first thing that I did was rig up a Airy 1K at the very top, and that was supposed to, later on at the last part of the whole scene with her, you know, the lights are supposed to turn, like he snaps his fingers, the lights shut off, and then the spotlight essentially above her is supposed to be there. And so they would, you know, strike this light on. And so I hung the 1K up, I believe it was a Cardellini clamp, I believe is what I hung it up there with. And then I used black wrap. Even though it's got barn doors, black wrap still helps, again, to, you know, really get that cone in there. I didn't scrim it. I could have scrimmed it, or, you know, put a little bit of cut off in there for the light because it was harsh, but I mean it was high enough, you know, we wanted that kind of harshness, so we stuck with it. And then, you know, I went up there and hung the sound blankets, one to help with sound, so it doesn't bounce all over the place so much. Again, it does in some ways. It can help cut off, you know, flag off some light bounce off the walls if you don't want that. And then, so then, you know, we had our lights in the back. I had one of my small LED strips I gelled. It didn't turn out how I wanted it to underneath the couch. So the latest production I worked on as a gaffer is called Gray Infused with Color, and this is going to be a mixture of what we did on set and post-production as far as color, and it's really going to be it's this guy who, you know, essentially hates his life. He doesn't like anything going on, and then he once he meets what becomes who becomes the love of his life, that kind of, you know, brings color to his world. So I believe it's going to be like black and white. It starts out kind of black and white. So it's going to be like Pleasantville. That's the best way to explain it. It's like Pleasantville. Starts off kind of black and white or gray or grayish, and then she essentially transitions his world into color, and then when we get to the end of the movie, everything, you know, is bright and possibly saturated, warm and colorful. So because he's happy, you know, his whole world is changed, flipped upside down essentially. We shot the first and part of the second day. I stuck these, you know, I got 2 of my twin work light setups out there. Our main actor, he wakes up in the morning. Actually, most everything that we did at the apartment was kind of like morning or daylight. We started at nighttime the first night, and then the next day we started shooting in the morning, so I had to block it off. I believe the first twin in there was, I believe it's 2,000 watts, 1,000 watt each on those halogens. Setting up for sun coming in through those windows. What we did do, it was good in theory, but I didn't think about it much like I should have, but you know, it's not a big deal. A lot of times I use tracing paper for diffusing windows, or allowing you to be able to kind of like get close to an overexposure on your windows, but it can be more of like a blooming effect, or that way it's not just, you know, especially if a camera like this one doesn't handle highlights very well, you know, at least, you know, and then plus if you're not worried about seeing outside the window like we weren't. So I went with the poor man's version, and parchment paper. Parchment paper is a great diffuser for light. It really is. It worked, but what I did not think about is parchment paper is, you know, non-stick. It worked for the most part. We got what we needed, but, you know, I was trying to tape it outside of the windows. Sometimes it would come off, you know, so, you know, but it worked fine. Plus, parchment paper handles heat, and so that's one of the reasons I did too, especially because the halogens can get hot depending on, you know, how close they are. And on the other side here, for the life of me, I think I figured it out, but I couldn't find my connector for whatever reason to the stand that went with these, the twin here, the orange ones, which are 500 watt each. So I think that's I can't remember if this is actually altogether like 1400. So those might be 600 watt halogens. Anyways, but so I had to rig it on a C-stand. C-stands come in handy so much, guys. If you can't buy them, which they're not the cheapest, just rent them. You can rent them cheap. So I rigged up a whole deal here, putting it on the end of the stand there. And also I wrapped, you know, I just had the Home Depot red plastic there, stuck it on the end, which is for safety. So basically you're flagging it. So if you have a tennis ball is usually what you use. I need to get some, but if you don't have, just put something on the end of it. A lot of times we forget, and you know, we forget. It's just how it goes. I mean, we're human. A lot of times when we're just trying to move, we don't always remember this stuff, but try to put it on the end of it. That way someone sees it, and at least hopefully they're paying attention enough to see, oh, red, I'm not going to run into that piece of metal. And then of course you sandbag the crap out of it. So the second day we did use both of these halogens. At first we thought we'd get away with just one, but the second day I blocked off the other side with my big DIY PVC frame. Obviously my black fabric was not long enough, So, you know, we stretch out how much we could, but we blocked it off because we started in the morning. So I essentially, you know, I was flagging off all that light so I could still use the halogen, create our own light. So we're controlling light. And then the side over here, what I did was I stuck the halogens right at the window as much as possible. But then I used my big, huge disc to flag off, you know, a bit, you know, most of the light going into the side windows there. Because the sun started on the back side of the building and then it went up and over, and then the sunset was on the far side. Look at the shots, guys. I mean, I'm sorry, but all of that right there, that's all lit up with the work lights. And I'm sorry, I don't care who you are, but that looks like sun to me. That looks like sunlight, sun ambience. To me, that's awesome, you know. This is a quick shot where, you know, that's the love of his life, and this is at the end, so she gives him a kiss, and everything's great and colorful and warm. And here's another cool shot. I love this shot. It turned out way better than I thought. So what happened, what we didn't know was going to happen, we wanted a blind effect while he was on the bed, which I think it kind of did in the shot that I'm going to bring up. We wanted blinds kind of cutting across his face. And we just didn't have, for one, we ran out of time, and we were able to get something there. It wasn't as noticeable, at least right now. Maybe later on in the edit it will be. Yeah, what was really cool, the light I had outside the back of the window shot in and created this beautiful pattern on the back wall there. It was awesome. And so as he walks, you know, as he makes his way across the frame and he's going towards the bathroom from the bed, I mean, it just, you know, we shot a light into the ceiling over there. I think I had a couple of my LED panels. We moved around because we would shoot into the ceiling for ambience is really what we were doing. So here, you know, you could see it on the back wall there as he's walking by. And, but yeah, so I shot 2 LEDs into the ceiling a bunch of times to create ambience. And then, and then especially once I kept it kind of white. I can't remember if we did 50 or 5,000 or 4,500 Kelvin or so. I can't remember as far as the panels in the beginning of the movie. And then when we got to the end of the movie, when it was warmer with her, I went I kind of more of a hue that I saturated into yellow, some yellow orangish type of color, you know, to warm it up to go with the whole feeling. And then here with this shot, here I am with a very simple bounce onto him is what, you know, what we were doing with that. When he steps up into the camera like he was gonna walk, he's supposed to walk and cover himself with the camera, you know, just bounce board, you know, cheap bounce board from the Dollar Tree. So it's the simple stuff, guys. It's the simple stuff that gets the job done. With the diner, what was really cool with the diner is, I'm telling you, with the diner, this was, I swear, the simplest, for the most part, as far as I'm concerned, like the simplest setup as a gaffer I've done in quite a while. Because I set up the LED panel behind them, I clamped it up onto the flat kind of, I would call it beam, but you know, where the panels, the tiles set on. So I clamped it up there with a drop ceiling clamp, they call it. I clamped one of my my panels up there, and then just ran for like 98% of the shoot at the diner. I just ran power to the wall because it was going to be up there the entire time, and that acted as a nice backlight for both actors since they were right there in the vicinity. And I never moved it. The only thing we had to do at some point was just change out battery, you know, move it to battery to move move the cord so it wasn't on camera at some of the angles. Can't talk. And that was it. I mean, honestly, other than that, we'd like move to certain places where there was a close-up. I would just use a bounce or something, and that was it, because we just went with the fluorescents that were already in there. And yeah, so the main thing aside from that we did was block off the windows. And you'll see in some of these examples, I recently got my big giant 5 foot by 7 foot black and white disc and just blocked off the window, and then I used my smaller disc to block off kind of the door, just to try to keep a lot of the ambience out that we didn't want for those shots. But then obviously, like when we come to these where we're actually facing the window, we can't obviously do that. But another shot that I did, use another LED panel. I clamped another one at the door near the end of the shoot up with another clamp. Our main actor, he was here, he was at the bar, and he's always breaking breaking the fourth wall. That's kind of the idea of the show. So he's looking in the camera. We had 2 different times. When he walked in, the light was off at the door. We weren't lighting up the door. I don't have a picture of that, but because, you know, he's, you know, down in the dumps and everything, gloom doom type of thing. This shot here, when we're looking behind him, at her as she walks in, the light was on. So it served 2 purposes. One, it was obviously to show that she was bringing light into the place for him, but also it was to bring her out from the background and make her stand out. Because that way, even though he's the focus in this shot, I believe we did throw focus to her, so she stands out. So it's like there's a lot of representation going on, and not just exposure, but there's, you know, most of the time we're trying to figure out representation, whether it is color, lighting, whatever, you know. So it's not just simple light it up real quick and be good to go, you know. So I mean, you can do that, but this is boring, you know. Kind of like this simple setup I have here. This simple from like last week is, you know, whatever. So like, again, every time I see pictures like this, I'm just sitting at the counter looking like I'm not doing jack. Anyways, let's move on over to the community shout out segment. What's happening, y'all? Welcome to the community shout out. This is a segment on my channel where I like to give kudos to any independent artist, anyone who I consider an independent artist. Give them credit where credit is due. Doesn't matter if you're a baker, an actor, singer, musician, sculptor, whatever the crap you are. You know what? You're gonna get your due on my channel. Just go ahead, if you know anyone who I haven't mentioned before, anyone who you think deserves a shout out, go ahead and link below. In the comments, send me their info, and I will make sure to try to mention them on one of my upcoming videos. So the first artist I've actually found while I'm scrolling through the feed on Instagram, and it's delicatedotsandrea, or Andrea. Not sure which one she goes by. This person does a lot of really cool stuff with essentially dots on, whether it's pottery, mugs, you know, like heart-shaped stuff. I believe one of them, I think she uses acrylic paint, so I'm not 100% sure. I do know that her stuff is excellent, and as far, you know, to me, it's creative, it's artistic. It takes a very long time to do this kind of stuff. I know it does. I sincerely doubt this person can just within, like, you know, 5-10 minutes, because there's so many, especially when they're going to all these different colors, and every time and delicately doing, you know, each dot, delicate dots. So, but yeah, definitely go check them out. I mean, they have, like I said, I found them on my Instagram, and I will link that too, but I will also try to link all the, everything else they've got. They got an Etsy, YouTube, I believe, there's even a TikTok, and Pinterest. If I can find their Pinterest, I will too, but I'll definitely make sure to link their Etsy and their Instagram down there in the description, so you can guys go check them out, show them some love. You know, get one of their products. You know, that way you're showing, you know, as much support as you can to an independent artist. That's what we're here for. Second artist I'm giving a shout out today is, I would consider a good friend here in the Missouri area, Mr. Joe Hammerstone. He is an actor, a known actor, especially in Missouri, a local actor. And he's done a ton of work. Definitely go check him out. Check out his IMDb. You could actually go on to Tubi. Tubi, if you don't know, is a free platform you can watch movies on. And go check out a movie called Fontaine and the Vengeful Nun Who Wouldn't Die. Took me like 3 tries to get that stinking title out. See what you guys think. A St. Louis made film. It's got St. Louis actors, crew, you name it, they're all in there. Joe has done a bunch of other stuff. He plays a real small role in my movie coming out, I'm hoping by the end of the year, The Monster in Their Eyes. Yeah, but he has a bunch of other credits to his name. He's got a Facebook, Instagram. I will make sure to link those below too, and go and show him some love. All right, all of you beautiful people, thank you for coming to the channel. I really appreciate you guys following me, and hopefully if you're new, make sure to, again, hammer the like button, hammer the subscribe button, and that way you can keep track of everything I'm doing. I'm gonna try to put out a lot more videos this year, hopefully 2 a month. We'll see. I've got a lot of other stuff going on, especially editing wise, but I'm gonna try as much as I can to, you know, get some more videos out. Definitely gonna get another rant episode out pretty soon. But yeah, make sure to go show those artists some love, and make sure to follow me on Instagram, and I do have a Facebook, but I mean, yeah, Instagram might be a little better as far as if you want to just like follow, just, you know, film photography and stuff like that. But anywho's, I will see all of you on the next one. Until then, peace!